Yes, all of you apes need to know this vital information. We are currently under a tornado warning, so if this video cuts out and the house collapses on me, we are going out with the Is It Monday Yet shirt, talking about AMC and the short squeeze like any good old ape would do. But nevertheless, that is not important. What you guys really need to know is the key factors I will be looking for, and one in particular, but there is many also that you have to know about that could cause the shorts to start covering, which is essentially a double-edged blade for the shorts. So I don't want to waste any time getting into this information. The only thing that I ask is that you hit that like button for me to help push this video out to as many people as possible so they can be aware of what to watch out for when it does come to the short squeeze, because I know a lot of apes are getting impatient out there, but really this is a patient game, and we will be trying to give the most reasonable timeline as well in this video on what to expect. Now, getting right into this video, guys, I'm not going to bore you with any technical analysis. We all know how this currently sits and that we are in a very bullish uptrend, as well as the pennant is coming to a close, so we do expect a move to the upside potentially this next upcoming week. Some people even think the squeeze will happen next week. I don't think that'll happen. I think July 16th is a more important day, but we'll talk about that more later into the video, or I should say expiration week is more important, but like I said, we'll talk about that later into the video. Now, I do want to draw your guys' attention first and foremost to this double-edged sword that could happen with the shorts. And even if you just type in Google stock market crash, you see all these articles from a day ago, 2 days ago, that are basically saying a crash is coming. Now, nobody knows if this is going to happen or if it's not going to happen. I personally think there's about a 20% possibility of this crash happening in the next month or two. That is not a very high conviction level, but it could happen, and I want to keep you guys informed of what I am looking at. And first and foremost, when it does come to AMC and short sellers in AMC, what happens when AMC goes up? Obviously, they are losing money because they have been shorting the stock. So when AMC goes up, they are losing money. But what happens when the stock market goes down and some of these other stocks that they own positions in, they lose value, essentially causing a double-edged sword. On one end you're losing money, on the other end you're losing money. And what I want to point out here is when you have margin, me and you don't have the availability to put your stocks that you currently have, say you're going through a margin call, or close to one, you don't have the ability to take and collateralize your stocks. That is essentially what margin is. But hedge funds and institutions, they have more leeway with this, and they can essentially, instead of putting up cash, can just put up their stocks. Now, when it comes to the stocks actually coming down while AMC goes up, they're going to see massive losses. If the stock market does start to collapse or come down in a rather fast pace, and we do see AM stocks starting to go up, as we usually do see when the stock market is down and AMC is up. They tend to invert one or the other, or the stock market is up and AMC isn't up too much. When that does happen, you will see margin calls start to come because their collateral is going down in value, and that is what is very important here. If we do start to see this overall sell-off in the stock market, that will force a lot of shorts to have to start covering their positions. Obviously, AMC would be going up, so you're going to see more options activity going into AMC, and this is really where I want to address the whole notion of this squeeze could happen next week. And let me know who is saying this could potentially happen next week. I would love to hear their thesis, and I don't just assume mine is correct. I don't assume anybody's is correct. It's good to take in all these different opinions and come to your own conclusions, because I think everyone's opinion probably has valid points and things you would agree with and things you would disagree with. So let me know down below if there's something you disagree with in this video. I pretty much respond to every single comment as well. But the reasoning why I don't think this will happen next week, and quite frankly I don't want this to happen next week, for a couple key factors that we will talk about later into this video, is simply we need a gamma squeeze to see these multi-$1,000 levels, because obviously once we do go up to 100, some apes are going to start selling, or some weaker handed apes are going to start selling, as well as once you pass these certain thresholds, some people are going to naturally take profits, and that is just going to add more selling power to the stock. But when you see the gamma squeeze on top of the shorts actually having to cover, that's where you see explosive moves. That is where we see an explosive moves in AMC both times, as well as the Volkswagen squeeze. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this, but they only had about a 10% short interest, went from about $50 all the way up to over $1,000 because of a gamma squeeze. Now take that into reference of today's numbers. AMC at about 19% short interest that we know about. We know there's a lot of naked shorting that is obviously going on with AMC, which was different from Volkswagen, but we aren't seeing that gamma activity or the option activity actually happening for next week, but we are for the July 16th expiration week. So we're going to talk about that briefly. And for the $60 call, we only have 11,705 contracts that are in open interest right now. And then after the 60, it drops off once you get to 65 at about 4,500. And then there's really nothing until you get up to about 70. You have 9,000, and then 73, which has been a rather big day, right, in between $5 moves from 60 to 65. 70, 73 has been pretty big, and then 75, obviously 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, but you're not seeing huge options activity, so you're not going to see that much delta hedging that is actually going to happen for next week or the July 9th expiration date. But once you come to July 16th, and keep in mind we still have time for a lot of people to actually buy these contracts and to have this open interest go up exponentially. And we'll take a look at the overall totals on the Stonko tracker in just one second. But at the $60 strike, you have almost 14,000 in open interest, and then it pretty much drops off to nothing until you get to 65. You have 3,800, but once you get over 70 on this July 16th expiration date, you are going to see a lot of delta hedging that is going on to basically hedge out these positions by buying shares because they sold these calls short. Now, you have 30,381 open interest on the $70 strike, as well as the 75. You have 15,292, and then really once you get to about 100, that's where you see even more volume and activity going on. 27,546, and then at 110 you do have 21,697, as well as obviously 145. You're gonna see the most activity pretty much on every single option chain at this 145 strike because they are cheaper, but they are riskier. But we do have 41,710 open interest. But if we get to 145, you're going to see massive margin calls and shorts having to exit their positions, and especially if apes do hold, that is really where we will see a GameStop like squeeze going from $4 to $350, or AMC going from 50 to 5,000, right? That would be a similar basis to what happened with GameStop. So that is definitely possible. I think the most likely time frame would be this July 16th expiration date, and the reason I don't necessarily want this to happen next week is because we need the short interest to keep going up, which is going to happen because some shorts that got in a long time ago, if they're not covering their positions, they're averaging down on their short positions by getting new short positions. If you guys know how averaging down works, if you shorted at $10, and it's the opposite of buying a stock, right? So if you shorted at $10 and then you short at 50, your average short is gonna be around $35, right? I'm not a math major or good in math or anything by any extent, but it's basically the same thing as buying the stock. If you bought it at 10, and then you bought it at 50, your average would be somewhere in the middle at about $30, $35. So that is the general basis here. And the more shorts you are seeing flock into these short positions or averaging down at this $50 to $55, $60 price range, the higher the bottom is going to be, right? So essentially when we do squeeze, we're not going to come down to these lower levels that we have seen previously in AMC stock. But as well as that, the biggest thing to point out is when you're seeing these shorts actually short at about 50, 55, 60, once you do get that squeeze to about 70, 80, 90, 100, you're going to see shorts that are trying to get out in a rapid fashion. They're not going to want to go down 1,000% on their short positions like the previous shorts had done. So they're going to be much quicker to actually get out of their positions. And if they're averaging up on their positions, that will just have a culmination effect of even more losses for some of these hedge funds that don't want to cover, that are preferring to average down on their short positions. And that is exactly why I do think the on-loan average days are going down quite rapidly, only at 31 days right now, which still puts us at about a $12 to $14 average on these short positions. But nevertheless, those are the main things I am watching for, as well as the Fintel data, guys. We can get updated every single day. So if you guys want to stay up to date with who is actually exiting their positions, to be more specific instead of just the overall concept from Ortex, make sure to subscribe to the channel. But this Fintel data, like I said, does show us who is shorting the stock and who is actually closing out of their positions or reducing their positions in AMC on a daily basis. So we see a lot of shorts that are still shorting AMC, all the way from a about May 14th is really where you see some of these shorts that obviously shorted around May 14th that have exited out of their positions. We see Apollo Management Holdings, Scorpus Asset Management, Wolverine Trading LP, Raymond James Financial Services Advisors Inc. They have all sold out. JP Morgan Chase & Co. They have all pretty much sold out, but we are seeing additional shorts that are adding to their short positions in a big time way. And especially once you see some of these bigger short positions, including Citadel Advisors LLC, we all know Big Bad Citadel, once they start to reduce their short positions or actually cover, that will give us a great indication of what's actually going on, as well as the price action, the overall downtrend in the stock market, as well as the short interest obviously would be going down at that point. But we also do have this firm, Jane Street Group. They shorted about 4.5 million shares. Citadel shorted about 5.5 million shares. So huge short positions, and that's really what I'm going to be watching for as far as the overall short squeeze in this next upcoming week. Let me know who is saying this or why they're saying this. Link it for me down below in the comment section. I would love to check it out and critique their thesis, or even maybe they'll point something out that I am missing. But from everything I can tell, we actually want this to drag out as long as possible, like I said, to get that short interest higher, naked shorting higher, ultimately make it harder to get your hands on shares to buy back to cover their short positions, leading to that supply and demand constricting, right? Because price is based off of supply and demand. So if there's a lot of people that need to cover their short positions, as well as the apes buying, as well as FOMO buying, you're going to see that demand go through the roof, and the supply is going to get constrained. So you're going to see supply going down, you're going to see demand going up, which is going to cause the price to go through the roof. And that could be a culmination effect until apes do start to take profits, because we do own 85 to 90% of all the shares outstanding. That is why this squeeze, theoretically, we could go to multi-$1,000 price points. It's really dependent on what the community does and how long they do hold. So if you guys appreciate the analysis that I provided in this video and my intake for this, I don't expect you guys to agree with me or disagree with me. Hopefully you guys can pick holes in this thesis of what you do like, what you don't like, what you agree with, what you don't agree with. But with all of this being said, that is going to wrap up this video. If you like the analysis or the insight that I provide and you want more videos like this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel on your way out, as well as check out the link down below in the description for public. Get up to $70 in your choice of free stock, no deposit necessary, and no need to even link a bank account. It is free money by definition, and if you did it right now, you would have your free stock in 3 minutes. Let me know down below what you get in the comment section. And a quick fact, they do not route your order flows to Citadel. The only other brokerages that do not do that are Fidelity, Merrill Lynch, and then obviously Public. So make sure to check out the link down below for that, as well as the link for Webull. Get 4 free stocks up to $2,400 a piece when you deposit $100 with Webull. That is also free money, and the only reason I do have that link is because you can actually turn off a setting in Webull so you make it unable for them to lend your shares out to other institutions and hedge funds, even possibly Citadel. So with all that being said, make sure to check out the link down below for the buy and sell alerts as well, if you want to be notified every single time in real time when we make a trade, buying, selling stocks, options, or crypto. We have been killing it over there, and you also join a great community that sources information all day long. But that is going to wrap up this video. I will see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Get ready for war.